we are pleased to have the participation of Mr. Ibrahim Baylan, Minister for Business, Industry and Innovation of the Swedish government. Minister Baylan, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Javier, and good morning. I was about to say, but it's not morning. Good afternoon, I would say. Dear Minister Maroto, dear participants, Ambassador, thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar. To be honest with you, I would have preferred much more to be in Madrid with you today, but as we all know, it's not possible. So, but I still hope to get the chance to visit Spain in the near future. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has hit all of us. It has caused great human suffering and has also put an enormous strain on our economies, on our industries. At the same time, we also know that while combating this pandemic and its effects on our own health and economy, at the same time, we know that we also face the same major challenges that we had prior to the pandemic. Chiefest among them is the environmental challenges that we have. The global warming is still ongoing, unfortunately. And what we can see is that while there has been a lot of suffering, a lot of negative outcomes of the pandemic, still we also see that there are things happening now that could also in the long run be positive. Digitalisation, enhanced digitalisation is one of them. We see more and more companies in the private sector now doing their best to change their business models and to become more sustainable. That is also, I think, in the long run, very positive. Now, as we all know, and we heard also it mentioned before, our joint efforts to try to combat the effects of the pandemic has led us to create a recovery, the resilience facility. It is, I think, one of the centerpieces in the next generation in the European Union. As we all know, it is designed to foster sustainable and inclusive recovery. It will promote the green and digital transitions and enhance the resilience of the European economy in the long run, I'm quite sure. From our point of view, we find that the recovery facility is a good opportunity to address member states' shared challenges, to steer the digital and green transition, and to deepen the single market. Swedish industry leaders such as Ericsson, Sandvik and ABB are all at the forefront of these transitions and can act as unique business partners in the implementation of the recovery facility. As I was saying, one of the things that I think will be a positive post-COVID is the faster digital transition that we are seeing. It is crucial to implement the green transition. It will also help companies diversify production chains as it enables more efficient collaboration with digitally advanced European partner companies. Encouraging our companies to develop new climate-neutral enabling technologies, goods and services, it will not only contribute to the green transitions, but also, I think, will be at the core of a more resilient economic recovery for our industries and our economies. The Swedish government has set the target to become the first fossil-free welfare society in the world, the first fossil-free welfare nation in the world by 2045 at the latest. I'm very happy and very proud that the Swedish industry is taking a leading role in this transition. Let me give you some examples. Fossil Free Sweden, a governmental initiative, is working with our companies, industries and regions to identify obstacles and opportunities in order to accelerate the green transition. Under this initiative, industry sectors draw up their own roadmaps as to how they will become fossil-free while also increase their competitiveness and production. To date, over 20 sectors in industry have committed to a roadmap on how to do this. We are already in this country seeing the results of these efforts. Some examples are the Northvolt battery factory being built in the northern parts of Sweden, the hybrid steel plant, which will produce carbon-free steel, something that we haven't had for 1,000 years. The newly initiated fossil-free producer of also steel, H2 Green Steel, and the mining group LKAB's transition to a fossil-free iron ore mining process. While the Northvolt factory will provide the automotive industry with sustainable batteries, the hybrid plant will soon be able to produce the world's first fossil-free steel, which alone will decrease Sweden's carbon footprint by 10%, and implemented globally will reduce the carbon emissions by 3.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide, and that is huge, obviously. A lesson from the COVID-19 crisis is also the need to reduce disruptions and strengthen the diversity and security of supply. We all remember what happened all over Europe, all over the world a year ago. So from our point of view, the critical mineral raw materials that has shown to be irreplaceable components in new technologies, we must ensure access to these kind of sustainable raw materials and material value chains. And therefore, I think it's of utter importance that we continue to work together within the EU and to deliver the EU's ambition on the Green Deal and the digital transition. Here, the Swedish industry and the Swedish mining industry play a key role, and we will try to contribute with what we can to make Europe more resilient and greener. Dear friends, smart industry is also about digital solutions to try to create new kind of business models, but also enhance the efficiency of our manufacturing processes. From what we have seen during the pandemic, the speed of this transformation will only increase. Through our strategy for smart industry, we aim to create the right conditions for a competitive Swedish industry where digitalization is one of the main driving forces. We have been talking about for a while now about the fourth industrial revolutions. This is ongoing now, and it enables digital twins, new business models, additive manufacturing, collaborative robotics, technologies which can improve working conditions and environmental outcomes, as well as competitiveness. A challenge for us all, I think, is to ensure that the digital transformation is for everybody. Taking the digital step is difficult, and there may be uncertainty as to whether digitalization pays off for the company or for the employees. But I think it's important nationally, and I think it's also very important in the European context. We cannot afford to leave anyone behind. We must work hard while implementing these technologies. We must work hard to help people, our citizens, with the changes needed to become also part of the new digitalized economy, our more efficient economy. Otherwise, I think we will see what we have seen in certain countries, people saying, well, I hear what you're saying, but it's not for me, and I vote no to change. That, I think, would be, for a small country like Sweden, who is very heavily dependent on foreign trade, would be a disaster, but I think it would be also a disaster in European context. So therefore, while we are fostering digital transformation, green transformation, we must it's equally important, I would say, to also invest in people's opportunities to become part also of the future economy, the future digitalized, sustainable economy. Now, Sweden, as one of the most innovative countries in the world, we have seen a lot of new innovations, startups, but also companies like Klarna, Spotify, and Izettle become digitalized giants. In the long term, it is through ambitious investments in research, in development and innovation that we can create the conditions for these kind of companies to get bigger and to also become international successes. So from our point of view, we'll continue to try to create these kind of conditions. We'll continue to invest heavily in R&D, in close cooperation with industry, with academia, to try to create the right environments for new innovations, to try to meet the challenges that we are seeing today, but also the future challenges arising both in Sweden, but also obviously in a European context. So, and from my point of view, dear colleague and dear participants, we see a lot of things going on in both in Sweden and Spain that are similar. So from my point of view, I would love to enhance the cooperation between Spain and Sweden, both in the European context, but also obviously bilateral. And I would love to come to Madrid and Spain whenever it is possible, but also see Minister Maroto and other officials and companies coming to Sweden so we can show what we are doing here and see also new opportunities for cooperation between two countries with the same ambitions and the same goals to try to create a better society and a better Europe in the long run. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Baylan. Dear Minister, there is a matter of great interest that we would like to elaborate on in accordance with your presentation. Sweden is a small sport-dependent country where there are many jobs with sporting companies. Foreign investment, therefore, plays an important role in the economic recovery. Which policies is the Swedish government fostering in order to strengthen foreign investment?
Well, as I was saying, we are trying to create the right conditions for both domestic but also international investors to be welcome, to be part of the future economy, the future way of doing businesses. Conditions for the digital and the green transition. It's about the energy sector, where we have been working together with parties in the parliament and try to create huge surpluses of clean energy, clean electricity. Obviously, hugely important when you're trying to create a new industry, a battery industry in Europe, where we haven't had any prior to this. We are trying to invest heavily in R&D to try to always be in the forefront when it comes to innovations and science. We will continue to also to invest in people, because I think when we are, especially when you're trying to create new industries, you will need a lot of know-how, a lot of new people, a lot of new skills. And obviously this is something we have been doing for a long time in Sweden, and will continue to do that, especially in this period where you have rapid changes and rapid structural changes in the society and in the economy. There's some of those, and we always try. We're not only always succeeding, but we always try to also do this in close cooperation with the private sector, with the industry and also academia. That has created a triple helix that is very, very one of the important forces why Sweden is ranked among the best innovative countries globally, and has been #1 in the European Commission ranking now for 5 years straight on.